on 95.7. Lindell Cooley singing Holy, Holy, Holy. 25 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock.
Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty. Early in the morning, my song shall rise to thee. Holy, 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 merciful, and you are mighty. God in three persons, blessed Trinity. Holy, all the saints adore you. Casting down, sing cherubim, they're falling down before you. Lord, you reign. Ladies sing holy. Though the darkness hide thee, through the eyes of sinful men, everybody sing, only thou art holy. Only thou art holy. There is none beside thee. You're perfect in power. Oh, yes, Lord.
only at 30 minutes after the hour.
Hallelujah.
Holy, holy. Time for us to get into a
Come on,
weather
worship
report.
Him.
Here's what they're calling for today. A high around 89 degrees
Worship
with
the
hazy
Lord.
skies and north-northeast wind 4 to 14 miles per hour. Tomorrow, sunny, high around 89, north wind 4 to 12. And then on Thursday, mostly sunny, high around 91, west-northwest wind 6 to 12 miles per hour. According to the 7-day weather forecast, the only 90s that we'll see will be on Thursday. But when you start talking about 89s, it could dip into the 90s very easy. We'll find out if we continue just to listen to 95.7 FM. 55 degrees is your current temperature. I have the volume up now, and we can you can listen to us, not just watch us here on KLYN's social media platform. Job chapter 16. One reminder before we get into verse 1 is about prayer line 505-425-3717. No request denied on that prayer line over there for you. So use it if you want. Then Job answered. So we have these people. We have Job in terrible straits, as we said already this morning, said it again yesterday. This is the big one. This is Job's big trial, big test in his life. If you're going to be a real disciple, if you're really going to serve God, you're going to chase after God with all your heart. You're going to say, I want to love you. There's going to be at least one really big. There's small ones that come along the way, but then there's a time in your life that there's going to be that one big trial in your life, a purifying fire that God will allow in our life. My guess was that Job thought he had God all figured out in his nice little existence that he had, 10 children, thousands and thousands of livestock, hundreds of household members to take care of all the possessions that he had, and everything was working pretty good in his life, and probably thought that he had God all figured out. But God says, listen, Job, there's more, and I want to show you more because I want to prepare you for something bigger than this earthly existence that you have. The enemy has come. The enemy is the one that's instigated. And I've said already this morning is that as I was reading this morning, I said, well, how come we haven't talked about Satan since chapter 2? Why hasn't Eliphaz and the other two guys that are with him, can't remember their name, why haven't they said, well, maybe we could point the finger here at Satan? Why hasn't Job himself said, it's like maybe they have and maybe I just missed it. Maybe they will and we'll get there before we get to the end of the book. But I don't see to where, who's the real culprit here? Wasn't it Satan who appeared himself and began to accuse Job before God? Wasn't it Satan that asked for permission to bring this all about on Job's life? And you say, well, why? If that's Satan, then why? Well, go back to the first 2 or 3 installments of the book of Job, and I answer those questions for you. Why? The why? Why would God allow it if it's the way it is? Well, that's the way it is because there was a bigger picture, God. And here's part of what my proposition is this morning, right or wrong. I'm going to say, I think Job thought he had God all figured out. And God says, I want you to know more, son, because I want to prepare you for more. And the fire came upon Job's life in every area of his life all at once. This is the big one. Remember, what was his name? What was Red's last name? The comedian that used to come out on television. This is the big one. Well, Job is going through the big one. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Shall words of wind have an end? Or what provokes you to do that you answer? You know, we went through part of this yesterday. We went through it fairly quick. It was a Monday morning. He says, listen, what provokes you? Well, you guys, why? What is it? Why is it that you guys are attacking me? What provokes you that you answer? I could also speak as you do, as your soul were in my soul's place. He says, if it was your turn, if you were the one that was sitting in my seat and I was sitting in yours, he says, I could do the same thing. I could just see their words. Look at this. Look at this. Here we are sitting around the campfire. We're looking at it from above. We're looking at it through the Word. Job is there. His 3 comforters are with him. Their words are like arrows. It's not bad enough that physically, emotionally, and spiritually that Job is in a free fall in his life. But here these guys come and their words are like arrows that are piercing him. They're like needles that are going into. I could speak as you do. If your soul were in my soul's place, I could heap up words against you and shake my head at you, but I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the comfort of my lips would relieve your grief. He says, if the tables were turned, I wouldn't be the guy attacking you. I would try to be helping you, giving you words that sweet honey that I would, or oil that I would want to pour out over you to soothe. I'm not getting any of that from you. You guys are a bunch of windbags. Though I speak, my grief is not relieved. And if I remain silent, how am I easy? He says, I have to get this out. The pain of what's going on in my life, in every facet of my life, I have to vent. There's times in your life that you have to say something. You have to let it out. I mean, sometimes in just vocalizing what you're going through, when you're going through tough times, sometimes you just have to talk it out. But you're looking for a listening ear. He's not getting a listening. He's getting an let me phrase. He's getting accused of something that is wrong. Well, there's got to be something wrong in your life, Job. And we're going to find it. We're going to be the guys, and they're digging it deep, and they're digging it wide, and they're going to get down to the real, what the heck. They have no idea. God's going to rebuke them. God's going to call them on the carpet. But for right now, God is just walking around the peripheral of that bonfire and those guys. He's just the shadowy figure in the outside, listening to what they're saying, and probably has a little smile on his face and said, oh, my boys. Verse 6 says, though I speak, my grief is not relieved, and if I remain silent, how am I eased? If I don't say anything, I'm going to explode. I have to say something. There's times, ladies and gentlemen, that you need somebody that's just going to offer you a listening ear, not try to figure out, and guys are real good about this. They want to fix things. You start sharing to a man. A woman many times are different. The woman comes with compassion. The woman comes and you begin to explain, and they're not trying to fix your problems. But a guy, he wants to take out the hammer and the nail, and he wants to get the saw right away, and he wants to, let's fix this thing right here. Let's take out the wrench set, and let's put sometimes Job just needs to vent. He just needs to get it out, and he's looking for something from these men who, I don't think he invited them. I think they invited themselves to come to the party. He says, if I remain silent, how am I eased? But now, verse 7, he has worn me out. God has I'm running on empty. I don't know how much I have left. I don't know what the breaking point is, but I'm getting close to the breaking point. The scripture says that God will not allow you to get to the breaking point. He knows how much you can take. Wasn't it First Corinthians, I believe, that we made that point? We'll try to find it for you. I think for some people, it's real important, that promise from God. But now, God has worn me out. God, you've made me desolate. You have made desolate all my company. These guys that are they're empty. They have nothing to. You have shriveled me up, and it is a witness against me. Notice, where is mention of the one who has really attacked Job? Where is mention? Do they not know that Satan is part of this? Apparently not. Gives me a little bit of insight into their theology. You have shriveled me up. It is a witness against me. This is here's what they do know. This is a supernatural thing that Job is going through. I don't think there's any doubt that Job and the three comforters know that this is a supernatural event, but they keep pointing their finger toward God, when really the culprit here is Satan himself. You have shriveled me up. It is a witness against me. My leanness rises up against me and bears witness to my face. He tears me in his wrath and hates me. Oh God, you just hate me. And notice, and I made this point a couple of days ago because there's a lot of repetition here, that Job goes in and out of faith. There's times that he's really down and just everything's the worst. And then he comes up and he starts talking, my Redeemer lives. I know that my Redeemer lives. But then you go, and you have to kind of follow the ups and downs of Job's faith. He tears me in his wrath and hates me. He gnashes at me with his teeth. My adversary sharpens his gaze on me. God is not your adversary. Job needs to know who his adversary really is. Who was it that I used the point on? I think it was Earl from Chimayo the other day had a post. If you don't know who your enemy is, you already lost the battle. Job, I don't see where he knows who his enemy is. God has delivered me to the ungodly. Is Job calling his friends ungodly? God has delivered me to the ungodly, verse 11, and turned me over to the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, but he has shattered me. He also has taken me by my neck and shaken me to pieces. He has set me up for his target. His archers surround me. He pierces my heart and does not pity. He pours out my gall on the ground. Oh, and it's very easy for me to look at this from, just a literary experience as, oh yeah, Job, get over it, son. Just get over it. I know it feels like the arrows are coming against you. His archers surround me. But whose archers are they? Are they God's archers? Or are they really Satan's, the real culprit here? His archers surround me. He pierces my heart. He does not pity. He pours out my gall on the ground. He breaks me with wound upon wound. He runs at me like a warrior. I don't know if we find anybody in all of Scripture who suffered like Job did except Jesus on the cross. What did Jesus say? Abba, why have you forsaken me? I can't think of anybody right now who will go through what Job has gone through except Jesus when he was on the cross. He breaks me the wound upon wound. He runs at me like a warrior. If you want to get a little taste of maybe what that suffering that Jesus went, look at Mel Gibson's movie, the passion of the Christ. That's one way. Just take out your Bible and begin to read the last few chapters of every one of the Gospels, and you'll see it there. It wasn't just that he was just grabbed out of the crowd, nailed to the cross, and died in a few hours. The Bible says he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was laid upon him, and by what? Oh my God. What is it that God has gone through for you? That's a price that was paid for us. Job's going through. He's paying a price. He definitely is paying a price. He breaks me with wound upon wound. He runs at me like a warrior. I have sewn sackcloth over my skin and laid my head in the dust. My face is flushed from weeping, and my eyelids in the shadows of death. Also no violence is in my hands, and my prayer is pure. I've humbled myself. Your time's coming, Job. Your time is coming. This isn't going to last forever. Remember James chapter 1, it says, no testing for the moment. Wasn't that in, I believe, let's see if I have it there. Let's see, verse 2, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. Let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. This is, man, you're going to go through it, but let it have its perfect work in you. My face is flushed, verse 16, from weeping, and on my eyelids is the shadow of death. Although no violence is in my hands, and my prayer is pure, O earth, do not cover my blood, and let my cry have no resting place. I've checked myself out, and if it was sin, I think Job would be the first one to confess his sin before him, but no violence is in my hands. My prayer is pure. What's a pure prayer? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. What's a pure prayer? Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Verse 18. O earth, do not cover my blood, and let my cry have no resting place. Let my cry go all the way up to heaven. I want to make sure it goes further than just the roof that's over my head. Surely even now my witness is in heaven, and my evidence is on high. The roof that was over Job's head was probably the starry sky. And he says, I want it to go even further than I want it to go all the way into the third heaven. And let my cry have no resting place. Maybe God will hear me. Surely even now my witness is in heaven, my evidence is on high. My friends scorn me. My eyes pour out tears to God. Oh, that one might plead for a man with God as man pleads for his neighbor. For when a few years are finished, I shall go the way of no return. What is it that Job is asking for in verse 21? Let's see what the Message and the Amplified say, because it says in the New King James, that one might plead for a man with God as a man pleads for his neighbor. I think he's asking for an intercessor, but I appeal to the one who represents mortals before God as a neighbor stands up before a neighbor. Oh, that man would mediate and plead with God for me, just as a man mediates and pleads with his neighbor for a friend. He says, I need somebody to back me up right about now. My wife, what did his wife tell him? Just give it up, man. Just give it up. And he's not getting much more. In fact, he's probably getting worse than that from his friends that are around the campfire with him right now. But he says, I sure could use a helping hand right about now. I could use a friendly voice. Oh, that one might plead for a man with God as man pleads for his neighbor. Any intercessors out there? My spirit is broken. My days are extinguished. The grave is ready for me. I'm dying. I'm slowly dying. My life is sapping out one drop at a time. No, Job. But we understand you're in dire straits. My spirit is broken. My days are extinguished. The grave is ready for me. Look at what the message says. My spirit is broken. My days used up. My grave dug and waiting. They already brought the shovels out, and they already got the measurement for how much the size that they're going to need for the coffin and how deep they're going. My spirit is broken. My grave is dug and waiting. Are not mockers with me? Does not my eye dwell on their provocation? They are provoking me. I mean, it's a wonder that these guys are lasting so long with each other. Job hasn't, or even one or the other hasn't walked up and said, I'm out of here, man. Now put down a pledge for me with yourself. Who is he who will shake hands with me? For you have hidden their heart from understanding. Job talking to God again. They don't understand what I'm going through, God. They really do not understand. That's why those arrows keep on piercing the heart of Job. They're wounding him. You have hidden their heart from understanding. Therefore, you will not exalt them. He who speaks flattery to his friends, even the eyes of his children will fail. I'm not asking them to tell me anything that's not true, but I want them to understand, but you've hidden my way from them. He who speaks flattery to his friends, even the eyes of his children will fail. But he has made me a byword of the people, and I have become one in whose face men spit. Verse 6, first half of the verse. He has made me a byword of the people. What is Job saying? Everybody's talking about me around town. Everybody knows. Everybody. Well, have you heard? No, I don't know if it's true, but when it's true in your mind, when you're the one that say, well, yeah, I bet you everybody's talking about me. Everybody knows. He has made me a byword of the people, and I have become one in whose face men spit. My eye also has grown dim because of the sorrow, and all my members are like the shadows. Upright men are astonished at this, and the innocent stirs himself up against the hypocrite. The message says decent people, according to verse 8, can't believe what they're seeing. The good-hearted wake up and insist, I've given up on God. They're talking about me. Oh, I hate when they talk about me. I hate when they accuse me. They're just as bad as these guys are sitting around the wildfire. Everybody at the local coffee shop the topic is Job. Is it? Is it? I doubt if that's what it is, but it sure makes for a good pity party. Yet the righteous will hold to his way, and he who has clean hands will be stronger and stronger. Here's where his faith is starting to kind of now he's reaching out to the bucket of faith instead of the bucket of pity. He's drinking from the well of the spirit man instead of the well of the flesh. And it'll go back and forth between. Yet the righteous will hold to his way. He who has clean hands will be stronger and stronger. But please come back again, all of you, for I shall not find one wise man among you. Let them all talk. Let them all say what they want to say. But my God is going to supply all of my needs. My days are past. My purposes are broken off, even the thoughts of my heart. They changed the night into day. The light is near, they say, in the face of darkness. There's light out there someplace, and all they can see is the darkness. Good buddies that I have singing Amazing Grace. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a Tuesday, the 6th day of September. You are listening to KLYNLP and or the social media site of Cornerstone Church, located in Las Vegas, New Mexico, the other Las Vegas. 57 degrees is our current temperature, looking for a high in the high 80s today. We are in the 13th verse of the 17th chapter of the book of Job, currently going through it verse by verse, chapter by chapter. Want to let you know is the prayer line is still open for another hour at 505-425-3717. Please only use that number up till 8 o'clock in the morning. After that, you can call the church number 505-454-9527. I don't think I even have a slide for that number there. But I do have a Facebook slide. Okay? A lot of good that does you because you're there already. If I wait for the grave as my house, if I make my bed in the darkness, if I say to corruption, you are my father, and to the worm, you are my mother and my sister, where then is my hope? Here, Job kind of, he drinking from the good water. Okay, there's two sources. Every once in a while, he drinks from the sweet water of faith instead of the bitter water of the old man. The bitter water of fear, the bitter water of giving. If I wait for the grave as my house, if that's what I'm waiting for is just that grave, that pit that's already been dug. We talked about it at the beginning of the chapter. That the diggers have already dug a grave for me. If I wait for that as my house, if I make my bed in darkness, if I say to corruption, you are my father, and to the worm, you are my mother and my sister, where then is my hope? As for my hope, who can see it? Will they go down to the gates of Sheol? Shall we have rest together in the dust? Will there be hope that'll be waiting for me down there? Where's my hope? Who can see it? He sees it, maybe the grave isn't ready for me yet. Then Bildad, and we're now in verse 1, chapter 18. Now Bildad, all right, next batter up. We got another inning over here. We could have this like a baseball game. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said, how long will you put an end to words? Gain understanding, and afterward we will speak. What's Bildad starting off saying over there? What point is he coming from? He says, you're just a dummy, man. You know what? You're not even listening to the words that we're saying. The Message Bible says how monotonous these word games are getting. Get serious. We need to get down to business. How long will you put an end to words? Gain understanding. The problem with you, Job, is you already got your mind on a track, and we can't get you off of it. Good thing. Good thing for Job. Why are we counted as beasts and regarded as stupid in your sight. You who tear, well, maybe because you're the ones that are flinging the arrows, but that's for another day. You who tear yourself in anger, tear yourself, one or the other. You who tear yourself in anger, shall the earth be forsaken for you, or shall the rock be removed from its place? Why are you working yourself up like this? Do you want the world redesigned to suit you? Should reality be suspended to accommodate you? Now, what I did is I jumped from the King James in verse 4 over to the Message and read it from both of them. Okay, because the Message can many times give us some great commentary. Remember, it's a dynamic thought-by-thought version, not a word-by-word translation. Verse 5, the light of the wicked indeed goes out, and the flame of his fire does not shine. The light is dark in his tent, and his lamp beside him is put out. The trouble is listen, how do we say it? The light is on, but nobody's home. That's kind of they're saying it an opposite way. The light is dark in his tent, and his lamp beside him is put out. Oh yeah, we can hear him, but there's no lights. He's just, it's darkness. The steps of his strength are shortened, and his own counsel casts him down. What gets me about these guys is they're all speaking in the third person. They're not saying, Job, your light has gone out. Well, they are saying that, but they're always speaking him, them. The steps of his strength are shortened, and his own counsel casts him down. It's your own words. You're tripping over your own words. The steps of his strength are shortened, and his own counsel casts him down, for he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walks into a snare. You set your own trap for yourself, buddy. The net takes him by the heel, and a snare lays hold of him. A noose is hidden for him on the ground, and a trap for him in the road. You didn't see the trap, did you, Job? You didn't see that there was laid up for you all of these minefields along the way, and you're stepping right into it. The net takes him by the heel, and a snare lays a hold of him. The noose is hidden for him on the ground, a trap for him in the road. Terror frightens him on every side and drives him to his feet. His strength is starved, and destruction is ready at his side. Bildad is saying, well, there's a guy that I know. I don't know if you know this guy or not, and I don't know if you know his name, but I'd be glad to reveal his name to you, that laid a trap for himself and he doesn't realize. And he stepped right into it. The snare, the noose. Terror frightens him, verse 11, on every side, and drive him to his feet. His strength is starved, and destruction is ready at his side. It devours patches of his skin. The firstborn of death devours his limbs. Message Bible says in verse 13, to lay them out for a gourmet meal, a treat for ravenous death. You're just dead meat. You're just roadkill on the side for death itself. He is uprooted from the shelter of his tent, and they parade him before the king of terrors. They dwell in his tent who are none of his. Brimstone is scattered on his dwelling. It's almost like Bildad is saying, listen, you never really had a relationship with God, dude. You just never really did. You're just kind of faking, going through the religious games is all you were going through. Remember, it's always talking about the third person, but we know who the first person is. He is uprooted from the shelter of his tent. They parade him. You're just like a a laughing stock. They parade him before the king of terrors. Maybe they are talking about the devil a little bit. Maybe they do see him a little bit. The king of terrors. They dwell in his tent where none of his brimstone is scattered on his dwelling. His roots are dried out below, and his branch withers above. Maybe we are talking a little bit about more than just their own earthly existence itself. Maybe they see something there where they start talking about the king of terrors. Let's see what, I know we jump back up to verse 14. Amplified says, he is torn from his tent which he trusted. He is marched and brought to the king of terrors. Verse 17 says, the memory of him perishes from the earth. He has no name among the renowned. Nobody remembers you, buddy. Nobody remembers you. You thought you were building a legacy, but you have none. It's just going to fall down. You're going to be gone, and nobody's going to say, oh, yeah, they'll for a couple of days they'll be saying, and how about what happened? And then Job? Who was Job? Oh, yeah, I've heard about that guy. He must have been a terrible guy. The memory of him perishes from the earth. He has no name among the renowned. He is driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. He has neither son nor posterity among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. He's lost everything. He, who's he? Yes, sirree, he, yep. Well, you've lost everything, but we're not going to make it too tough on you. We're going to talk about, in a roundabout way, we're going to give you that third person still. Yeah, he's lost everything. Nobody's ever going to remember. His possessions are gone. His family's gone. Posterity gone. His legacy is gone. His heritage is gone. He's just a vapor that one of these days going to vanish. Those in the west are astonished at his day. Those in the east are frightened. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked. Those in the west are astonished. The east are frightened. Well, why would they be frightened? Because it could happen to them. Verse 21, last verse of what chapter are we on? Chapter 17, 18. Surely such are the dwelling of the wicked, and this is the place of him who does not know God. We figured it out, Job. You just don't know God. Now, that was chapter 18. Now we get into chapter 19. And if you allow me to get that up for you, I just have it there, just so everybody knows that we just transferred over to the 19th chapter. Trying to keep everything in line over here. Then Job answered, how long will you torment my soul and break me in pieces with his words? It's a wonder that they even let him talk, but they do give him his due. They give him his time. Next inning, the bottom of the seventh. Well, maybe not. Maybe we're not already in the seventh inning. Maybe we're only in the fifth or the sixth. But then Job answered and said, how long will you torment my soul and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times you have reproached me. You are not ashamed that you have wronged me. You guys are cutting me up and don't even realize it, don't even notice it. But we got to fix you, Job. We got to fix you. That's why we're here for. We brought our tools and we got to fix you. Wait a minute. God said that Job was blameless, upright, that he feared God and he shunned evil. These 10 times you have reproached me. You are not ashamed that you have wronged me. And if indeed I have erred, my error remains with me. If it's my fault, it's my fault. But they're like a bunch of mechanics that are pulling wires and then now they don't know how to put them back together. Well, I think this one goes here and that one goes. No wonder we're not getting any place. If indeed I have erred, my error remains with me. But they have not diagnosed the real issue. Not even Job. But Job has looked at himself and he says, I don't know what I did. If I did something to deserve this, I don't know what it is. He's already taken spiritual inventory of his life. Checked himself out to see if he was in the faith or not. New Testament. If indeed you exalt yourselves against me and plead my disgrace against me, know then that God has wronged me and has surrounded me with his net. Verse 5. If indeed you exalt yourselves against me, it's very easy to find somebody in a hard place and to step on their body to elevate yourself up a little bit. Is that what Job's comforters are doing? That he thinks so. If indeed you exalt yourselves against me and plead my disgrace against me, I'm down on the floor and you guys are just using me as a stepladder. Know then that God has wronged me and has surrounded me with his net. If I cry out concerning wrong, I am not heard. If I cry aloud, there is no justice. God's not hearing me. God is not, I am in this place and God has kind of left me. I don't. If I cry out concerning wrong, I am not heard. If I cry out, there is no justice. You know, something that I was reading just recently about the book of Job is that Job really going after this justice thing in his plea. Doesn't really see the justice of God. If I cry out concerning wrong, I am not heard. If I cry out, there is no justice. He has fenced up my way so that I cannot pass. He has set darkness in my paths. He has stripped me of my glory. He has taken the crown from my head. I think he's drinking from the bitter water now. He, talking about God, has stripped me of my glory. He has taken the crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone. My hope he has uprooted like a tree. What would be the difference in this situation if Job really understood that it was the devil who had instigated the whole thing? How would that have changed everything? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. The accuser of the brethren, according to the book of Revelation. He has also kindled his wrath against me. He counts me as one of his enemies. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't, but that's our assessment right now. That's the bitter water that we're drinking from. His troops come together and build up their road against me. They encamp all around my tent. It's just like the psalm that has that prophetic psalm that says, the bulls of Bashan has surrounded me. Kind of giving you insight into what the crucifixion was all about. That all the demons were there accusing Jesus. Wasn't just a physical thing that he was going through. His troops come up together and build a road against me. They encamp all around in my tent. He has removed my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely estranged from me. I'm by myself. I'm just that one individual that's floating away. Nobody else is there for me. He has removed my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely, they're strangers to me. My relatives have failed. My close friends have forgotten me. Well, you want to add to that pity party? What was that song that used to sing? Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Yeah. I promise I won't sing very much on the program, okay? Don't want to lose you. That's kind of where Job's at, though. Those who dwell in my house and my maidservants count me as a stranger. I am alien in their sight. I call my servant, but he gives no answer. I beg him with my mouth. Well, they're not even there to call. Your servants are all gone. Nobody's texting me back. Nobody's liking my post. Nobody's commenting and saying, "Oh, Job, we'll pray for you." Nobody. I'm just an island out over there. I call my servant, but he gives me no answer. I beg him, I'm all alone. No, you're not all alone, but it feels that way. I think we've all been there before. My breath is offensive to my wife. That's the New King James. That's not the Message. In fact, the Message says my wife can't stand to be around me anymore. But both the Amplified and the New King James says my breath, well, one of them says repulsive, the other one says offensive. She keeps saying, you want some gum? You want some mints? You get, come on, Job, you're stinking. My breath is offensive to my wife. I am repulsive to the children of my own body. Even young children despise me. I arise and they speak against me. The kids who used to come and hug my leg and say, there's your, no, now they're turning away from me. All my close friends abhor me, and those whom I love have turned against me. Once again, imaginations, vain imaginations, ladies and gentlemen. Here's another part of warfare, the vain imaginations. Oh, yeah. But you know what the Bible says? That we can come against the vain imaginations. That the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God to the pulling down. And we're seeing a lot of vain imaginations going on in poor Job's life. All my close friends abhor me. Those whom I have loved have turned against me. My bone clings to my skin and to my flesh. I have escaped the skin by the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me. Have pity on me, you my friends, for the hand of God has struck me. Is there anybody out there that's going to be in my corner? Is there anybody that's going to have any pity on poor old Job as he goes through what he's going through? And it's a terrible event. We keep saying this over and over, putting it in perspective. Suffering in every area of his life. Have pity on me. Verse 21, have pity on me, you my friends, for the hand of God has struck me. Is there anybody who's going to come to my side? Why do you persecute me as God does and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book. Why do you persecute me as God does? Verse 22, and are not satisfied with my flesh. You just keep on plucking away at me over and over again, and I don't understand why. Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book, that they were engraved on a rock with an iron pen and led forever. Well, guess what? They are going to be. Then he goes and he drinks from the sweet water. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and he shall stand at last on the earth. And after my skin is destroyed, this I know, that in my flesh I shall see God. Going back and forth, well, now it's time for him to realize that his Redeemer lives. And it's time for me to realize that I am running out of time, and I'm going to have to close it off right there on that 26th verse of what chapter are we on? I can't tell without having this up over here for you. Chapter 19. Verse 26. That's where we're ending it for today. Got to play a song, and then we're going to have a weather report coming up for you. So thank you those who were with me on today's program. Sorry for that first 20 minutes for the social media, please.